Good afternoon, everyone. Jessica Mcilveen here from Kids Yoga Therapy. I wanted to speak to you guys today about a theme that keeps popping up for me, but also the families that I work with. And it's the theme of expectations and basically how they impact the ability for us to connect. The ability for us to connect to ourselves, the ability for the expectations to impact how we connect with our children, with our partners, with our husbands, with our wives, with our families, with our friends. Now, in particular though, let's speak about how it impacts our children. So, the idea of expectations, I guess one could say that these really are developed in a bit of a fantasy world. So from a really young age, we are designing our expectations and our perceptions of the world. So this comes through information channels like those of our parents, those of the cartoons that we watch, the books that we read, the stories that we're told, our school environments, our family's values and beliefs. We're from a very young age, we are developing what we believe our world should and should not look like. And this doesn't stop, it keeps on going. So what this does then is that from time to time, actually pretty often, when things are happening or occurring in our environment that does not meet our expectations or what we believe things should look like, then we come up against a wall. And that's when the pain and suffering occurs. So when I say pain and suffering, it's the emotions like frustration, sadness, anxiety, depression, anger. So that's when those feelings occur. So, this starts from when we read those first parenting books. It starts when we watch and link into those milestone apps that you've got. And if your child are not meeting the milestones, or if they are not meeting the norms of what's said in the books, then our expectations are something is wrong here. Okay, my child is not normal, so what needs to change? So it starts from a very young age personally, but in terms of our children, it starts from a really young age too. And then what happens is we've got doctors, we've got psychologists, we've got OTs, we've got people like myself, and I would be close to saying, I don't know who should you believe, right? Because you have all the answers that you need. So you've got all of these opinions and expectations constantly surrounding you. And this can be really overwhelming, and it leads to that brick wall effect. So often the work that I'm doing in the coaching sessions with parents is really trying to manage those expectations. So what are they? What are you still resisting within your environment with your child? What are you still resisting in your child? What have you not accepted within your child? And if you consider that if those thoughts are in the back of your mind, every interaction you have with your child, or every time that you're trying to get something done or achieve a goal within that relationship, you're actually not connecting, because your mind is always on something that should be. And that's in any relationship, and it really kills the connection. So if you consider this in your marriage, in any personal relationships that you have, when you have expectations, when you have these ideas in the fantasy world and they're not getting met, connection is gone. And when we aren't connecting with children in those moments to the person that they truly are and the person that they truly aren't, then they always feel like they're behind the 8 ball. And when you feel like that constantly, then certain behaviours start to come out. So we've got children that, completely stop trying. This happens in school. I see it a lot in schools with kids. It happens with a lot of anger and frustration. So they're just angry because they can never do anything right. And they're really just seeking, and they're really desperate for that connection time with you. So my suggestion this week to you all, and we did discuss it last night on our coaching call, is to really become aware this week of when you start to get frustrated and angry and upset or sad or depressed, and actually ask yourself in that moment, what are my expectations of this right now? And once you can identify those expectations, start to consider and ask yourself, is this an expectation in my fantasy land? Where has this expectation come from? And who actually decides that this reality right here, right now, is right or wrong? Because you get to decide that. It's within your power. And when we realise that quite often it's just the expectations in our fantasy world, then all the resistance can drop away, and what's left is space to connect, essentially. And if there's one thing that is going to help any child grow and develop, it's connection with you, their parent, based on who they are and who they're not. So let me know your thoughts on this, because it's a big topic and it's been coming up a lot this week. So interested in what you think too. Connect soon.